This video production focuses upon the operational mandate of the Special Investigation Unit. As the Vice Chief of the Defense Staff and Operational Commander of this unit, I believe it is most important to stress that the unit operations are authorized by and conducted in strict compliance with the laws of Canada. Furthermore, they are closely supervised by the Chief Intelligence and Security and the Director General of Security to ensure conformity with the standards of ethical conduct expected from the members of the Canadian Armed Forces in our democratic society. The Special Investigation Unit plays an important role in safeguarding intelligence in Canada.
The threat from foreign intelligence services is real and immediate. It is crucial to Canadian combat aims that the threat be recognized and isolated, and neutralized or destroyed. In Canada, as in other democratic countries, foreign operatives make extensive use of open sources to piece together the national security puzzle. Libraries, databases, technical publications, and trade shows all may expose vital information in small amounts. Harmless exposure when taken alone, but extremely damaging when combined with the missing piece. Every serviceman and civilian employee of the Department of National Defense is a potential target for the foreign agent. Access to useful information, classified or not, is the only criteria. And the co-opted individual is the spy's most valuable asset. Recruitment techniques will vary, but the foreign agent will exploit any opportunity. Financial gain is most often the lure, but other inducements have included blackmail, the threat of revealing an individual's sexual or other indiscretions, or perhaps encouraging another individual's desire to get back at a superior, or the entire system. Whatever the method, once contact is made, the foreign agent works quickly to establish and maintain tight control over the individual involved. The Special Investigation Unit is a Canadian Forces unit within the security branch, actively engaged in combating the threat of foreign intelligence operations. As an essential element of the Canadian Forces, the SIU has three explicit objectives. Implement counterintelligence preventive measures through personnel security background investigations. Effect counterintelligence detective measures through investigations into incidents of espionage, subversion, sabotage, and terrorism, and to collect security intelligence in support of Canadian Forces operations. The unit is assigned to the Vice Chief of the Defense Staff. Its headquarters is in Ottawa, and there are detachments and sections throughout Canada and in Europe. As an operational group, the role of the SIU is to provide a strategic theater-level security force in times of peace and war. The unit is tasked with identifying and countering any intelligence gathering activities directed at Canadian defense organizations or operations. In addition, the unit is responsible for preventive and detective security and counter-espionage measures in support of the security of the Department of National Defense and the Canadian Forces. Foreign intelligence services' efforts to compromise Canadian security are continuous, regardless of the political and diplomatic climate. Their activities increase in times of crisis and particularly in times of war. The unit supports Canadian task forces deployed abroad, providing counterintelligence capabilities to Canadian interests within the theater of operations, and collecting security intelligence in accordance with the arrangements and agreements between allies and cooperating organizations. In the Persian Gulf, when the United Nations coalition engaged Iraq, It was the stated intention of our enemy to unleash international terrorist attacks on coalition forces, both in their home states and within the Gulf theater. Accordingly, the specialized application of SIU expertise was deployed at home and abroad to combat this threat. The unit undertook careful monitoring and assessment of the real potential for terrorist activity against DND personnel and installations in Canada and Europe. At the same time, SIU terrorism specialists were posted to the war zone, placed under the command of the Canadian commander, and set to work collecting every possible indication of terrorist capabilities in proximity to Canadian targets. Unit personnel also provided crucial liaison with the counterintelligence organizations of other coalition armed forces. SIU operations are ongoing in times of peace as well as war, in a vigilant and proactive initiative to protect and maintain national defense security. And as with any sensitive responsibility, care must be taken to protect the rights and privacy of loyal citizens. The SIU is the only DND unit empowered to conduct counterintelligence operations under the auspices of the government security policy and as approved by Chief of Defense Staff in accordance with approved security standards and agreements. The work demands and depends on a high degree of coordination between many interested parties. The unit has established and maintains effective working relationships with allied military and civil police, security, and intelligence agencies. The information emanating from these sources is in turn made available through an internal SIU network, ensuring consistency and accuracy to all authorized Canadian Forces users. And the Special Investigation Unit is a respected member of an international exchange network that meets regularly to share information and security intelligence, as well as to coordinate joint security operations. All SIU elements are organized to provide support to operational commanders. For example, on the direction of National Defense Headquarters, the unit provides commanders with real-time assessments of any foreign intelligence threats to their operations and exercises. The standing tasks entrusted to the SIU range from those of advising the commander and his staff of the security threat to his force and assisting in monitoring personnel vulnerability to conducting security intelligence operations for the purpose of neutralizing foreign intelligence threats. And finally, the unit is also responsible for conducting background investigations in support of the department's security screening program. The work is varied and demanding. Primary to the responsibility to keep commanders and their staff advised of the threat are investigations of any incident which could indicate an attempt at intelligence collection, subversion, sabotage, or an act of terrorism, as well as investigations of suspected attempts by foreign intelligence agents to initiate direct or indirect contact with employees of the Department of National Defense. The assistance to commanders in monitoring personnel vulnerability comprises several investigative functions. The unit investigates any personnel directly engaged in subverting the loyalty and will of Canadian troops. Any specific incidents of disloyalty on the part of individuals with access to classified information or material, and any situation where there are indications that any individual may have been compromised, willingly or otherwise. Government of Canada's security policy requires a security clearance for any individual whose duties give them access to classified information, controlled installations, or essential persons. The unit's support to DND's security screening program takes the form of thorough investigations into the loyalty, reliability, and trustworthiness of both civilian and military employees of DND. These background investigations will consider a range of character components and behavioral indicators. Words or actions which express support for extreme ideological views, association with cults accompanied by adverse changes in behavior, unauthorized or unreported association with foreign nationals of scheduled countries, or travel to those countries. Any of these situations may prompt SIU investigative action. Other less overt indicators can also be significant. Excessive use of alcohol can compromise an individual's ability to protect sensitive information. Sexual activities outside of declared relationships can leave an individual vulnerable to blackmail and coercion. Significant changes in emotional stability can erode a person's capacity to safeguard classified information and materials. Abrupt changes in financial circumstances can also be evidence of an individual's susceptibility. Family difficulties, marital strife, serious medical problems, any cause of emotional stress may reduce resistance to the advances of foreign interests. The use or unauthorized possession of drugs can signify a deterioration of a person's ability to exercise judgment and discretion. Casual association with individuals of uncertain moral character may represent no difficulty in itself, but can lead to compromising circumstances. The real measure of the danger inherent in any one of these circumstances can only be made by thorough investigation and balanced analysis. But the most menacing threat is found in a person suffering character weaknesses which have been identified and exploited by enemy operatives. And in virtually all cases, those who have betrayed the secrets and security of their country have demonstrated behavior that might have warned authorities had it first been recognized and reported by family, friends, or co-workers. The SIU, in cooperation with other security agencies, conducts counterintelligence operations which target foreign agents and terrorists. These operations gather and analyze the data and information obtained by monitoring cells identified with espionage, subversion, sabotage, or terrorism. When required, sophisticated surveillance operations are mounted as a part of the Security Intelligence Initiative or as a part of a major security investigation. The unit can field expert undercover investigators whose activities are coordinated with local police and security agencies. And SIU operatives can be deployed with cooperating security and police forces to support the neutralization of espionage or terrorist cells or other subversive elements. Great care is taken to observe and respect the rights of those citizens who exercise their right to legitimate dissent. The unit operates in strict compliance with all applicable laws and the very stringent internal policies applied on the direction of the Vice Chief of the Defense Staff. The separation of responsibilities between the SIU and the military police is essential to the effective application of their unique expertise. Where criminal investigations and security concerns coincide, the SIU will support and complement military police in the areas affecting DND security. And while the integrity of the criminal investigation will be preserved in every respect, thoughtful consideration of the security element ensures that the objectives of all participants are properly served. For instance, an act of suicide by an individual cleared to top secret will necessarily fall under the scrutiny of criminal investigators and the SIU. Any suicide involving such personnel may be the direct result of blackmail pressure from foreign intelligence agents. In another example, incidents and activities with ramifications for the security or capability of Canadian forces are an area of specific interest to the SIU. Where such an incident can be identified as an act of sabotage, and particularly where the act is directed at operational targets such as ports, airfields, communications establishments, or logistics facilities, the SIU will concentrate its investigations on the background to the act, the personalities involved, and the ideological motivations. In the case of a request for military support from civil authorities, Canadian Forces commanders require current, accurate, and specific intelligence assessments of the threat environment. Security intelligence liaison is essential to an effective response to these requests. In most cases, the information needed has already been gathered by civil agencies and will be shared on DND's guarantee that it will be appropriately controlled and protected. In order to ensure full accountability in this sharing of intelligence, the Vice Chief of Defense Staff has directed that the Special Investigation Unit alone may conduct the required liaison. As a consequence, SIU investigators are in continuous contact with numerous security agencies and police forces at all levels and with the counterintelligence arms of our NATO allies. The information collected through these contacts may be analyzed within the unit and passed to regional operations staff, or it may be reported directly to NDHQ for national-level collation and analysis within the Directorate of Security Operations of the Director General of Security. Some other highly specialized capabilities have also been entrusted to the SIU. Complex and costly investigative aids allocated only to the unit remain available to support the requirements of military police or other security agencies. Polygraph systems and sophisticated surveillance and photographic equipment are important components of an effective investigation. The unit can also assist military police sections with expert personnel, such as skilled equipment operators, undercover and surveillance specialty teams, professionals, fully experienced in the most effective methods and techniques. In the case of suspected attempts to penetrate the security of the Canadian Forces Automated Combat Information System, the SIU will assist in the investigations with a particular expertise in computer system security. The same expertise is called upon to assist in investigations of compromise or loss of classified information stored, processed, or transmitted in electromagnetic form. The unit's specialized capabilities include the provision of close protection, teams of experts trained in the use of a unique array of weapons, armor, vehicles, and communications equipment. In peacetime, and as circumstances warrant, close protection teams can be assigned to persons at some increased risk due to position or rank. During times of war, these teams are assigned to high-ranking officials traveling to and from the theater of operations or anywhere in the world. The SIU's role in maintaining national defense security can take many forms. And while many highly specialized capabilities have been developed and implemented for application throughout the forces, the basic function of information distribution remains integral to the achievement of the unit's objectives. When required, SIU personnel conduct on-site threat assessment briefings for selected national defense personnel requiring familiarization with special security measures. Tailored briefings are provided to those whose travel or employment may expose them to an increased security threat. And just as the unit strives to maintain and enhance national defense security by disseminating security intelligence to those with the need to know, it also assists in securing the area in which this information will be discussed. The Technical Security Inspection Team can provide sensitive discussion areas with full protection against the surreptitious collection of information through any audio, visual, or electronic techniques. The SIU is a multifaceted, full-time security investigation organization engaged in supporting Canadian Forces counterintelligence requirements. The unit is a critical component in an integrated system of cooperative and coordinated forces and agencies with the common purpose of security. In times of peace and times of war, the Special Investigation Unit provides the liaison and information sharing capabilities that are crucial to the maintenance of national defense capabilities. In times of crisis and in response to any incidents of compromise or threat to national defense installations, operations, or personnel, the SIU provides capabilities and specialist functions which support the effort to combat any threat to the department's security. This overview of the SIU and its capabilities has presented the unit as a vital component of the larger Canadian Forces security organization. The National Defense Special Investigation Unit does not exist to compete with other security and police organizations, but rather to complement those organizations by providing specialist security services to commanders at home and abroad. In the final analysis, the protection of our military security depends upon each member of the Department of National Defense and the Canadian Forces. Without your active support and cooperation, the Special Investigation Unit cannot hope to fulfill its mission.